Well, hello everyone. Welcome to today's edition of Live at the Waterhole. Starting the show here at Nguma with some springbok and a wildebeest in quite a barren looking landscape there in Etosha, but they're obviously finding some goodies there to feed on. My name is Kelly. I am going to be with you again for the next couple of hours. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Your presence is invaluable to the show. Please do remember we are very much live and interactive. And we all love hearing from everyone that's joined us today, regulars and newcomers alike. Please send your questions to wildearth.tv/questions, or you can scan the QR code there on your screens. We love to hear all of your questions and comments and thoughts. I think any regular viewers have faith now that I will not make things up. Join the conversation on X using #WildEarth. It's one of my favourite parts of the show that we can all learn things together. It's great to have a hive mind out there all participating in the show. So send your questions and comments through on WhatsApp on +27 786 302 336. We're looking forward to hearing from everybody out there. And this is a nice little gathering, actually, of herbivores here up in Etosha. I always enjoy the markings on these springbok. It looks like someone's, or not me, but an artist has sort of taken a paintbrush and delicately drawn all these lines on these gorgeous little antelope. All these herbivores getting on so nicely together. Mercedes Bean, thank you so much for joining us today. Greetings, Wild Earth crew and chatters. Happy Friday to you too, Mercedes. It is indeed Friday. I've only just realised that it is the 18th of July. And it is indeed Friday. Time for the weekend to land almost. I always say Mercedes Bean, but I'm now not sure if it's Beanie. Should I be pronouncing that E on the end? I'm not sure. Mercedes, I apologise if I've been getting it wrong. It all looks very calm and relaxed here. Up at Onguma. I'm not too familiar with this camera actually. So I'm not sure if it always looks this calm and relaxed here. Oh, we've just caught everyone having a Friday wind down maybe. Deb D, hello to you too. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you with us. Jive Bunny, almost midday in the UK. Lovely to have you here, Jive Bunny. Thank you very much for your welcome. South Africa is only an hour in front of the UK at the moment. The furthest apart we get is 2 hours. So it's 12:37 here in South Africa. Jive Bunny, checking in with Mercedes, Lady Macbeth. Oh, happy Mandela Day to all our South African friends. You are completely correct, Lady Macbeth. Happy Mandela Day to everyone listening in South Africa. And everyone everywhere, actually. Not just people listening in South Africa. Rosalind McConnell, hello to you too. Thank you very much for joining us. And Jive Bunny also saying thank you, Lady Macbeth. Thank you very much for the reminder as well. I do appreciate it. There are a couple of events happening in town today in celebration of Mandela Day. Mercedes, thank you so much for the update. I always say Mercedes Bean, and I suddenly realised I might have been getting it wrong all along. So now I know. Thank you for the information.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
These wildebeest are grazers, but I can't see a great deal of grass going on there, so I'm sure they are getting as much nutrients and minerals and everything else they need out of whatever they've been feeding on for as long as possible. Mr. Elemental, hello, welcome, thank you for joining us. Mr. Elemental, I'm not sure if you caught my previous hello. I did indeed greet you back. Thank you for joining us. Charlene Van Vanguard, thank you very much for being here, and it's great to be here. Thank you for joining. These wildebeest, they do look a bit pale to me, but I'm going with maybe it's the light. But let's head across to the fabulous El Doño. I feel like I've been getting quite familiar with our elephant across there with his slightly damaged trunk. Let's see who's here today. I think that might be him. I'm looking at his ears. I could be wrong. Let's see his trunk. No, it's not him. We had a long discussion yesterday about how to age elephant, and I basically said it's quite difficult once they're pretty much fully grown adults. I often go on behaviour or sheer bulk. Male elephants, I often look at how wide their trunk is between their tusks. That often fills out as they get older. Got some of those lovely eland there in the background. And it was actually a lovely opportunity yesterday. There was a male stood right next to a female, and it was very easy to see the difference in coloration, in size, in bulk. One theory for all these crinkles and folds in elephant skin is to possibly help with temperature regulation. Folds in the skin increase surface area, therefore making thermoregulation easier. No, Mercedes, still no 1 ton yet. He was around for a little while, wasn't he? We had him for a few days. We had him with that very dramatic, bump on Wonky Ear, whatever his name is, the one with his folded over ear. But I haven't seen 1 ton for quite a while. It depends on the individual and it depends on the area. But I do know sometimes male elephants will sort of have quite a large home range, and he might go off into the rest of his home range. And when we see him on this part of his loop, This is when we see him on this camera here, but he really is a magnificent specimen. Penelope Kenyon, hello. No Wi-Fi internet at home. Hope it's just bad weather creeping in that's affecting the airwaves. Penelope Kenyon, don't even talk to me about Wi-Fi. Drives me. What bird was that? It drives me absolutely mad. I have relocated again today. I'm sitting somewhere else, closer to my Wi-Fi connection. But isn't it? It's crazy, hey, how we come to depend on it so much. But yeah, it's a very sore subject for me. Is Wi-Fi competence. So good luck, Penelope. I do hope it is just weather that's causing your problems. Jean Grove, you were wondering, do we have wolves at night and how many in a pack? We don't have wolves here. The closest we've got to wolves, certainly in this area, is probably wild dogs, canids from the same Canidae family. Some people think hyenas are in somehow related to wolves. They're their own sort of complete group of animals. So probably the closest would be wild dogs that we have here. And pack sizes of wild dogs can vary vastly from, I think at one point in my area of operation we had 3. Hello, piggies. There really is a lot of activity at this old Donio camera, hey? We had 3, which was a pack. I think there was a female and 2 males. That counts as a pack. All the way up to, I've seen packs of sort of 20 plus, but I have heard of sort of mega packs of sort of 25, 30. Quite unusual, but big packs. So yeah, the closest we've got to wolves are wild dogs, Jean. Anything from 3 to 30 in a pack. And they're actually more active in the day. They're technically a diurnal species, and they mostly hunt dusk and dawn. So crepuscular, it doesn't mean you won't see them at night or in the day, but that's when they're most active. I do find it interesting at this old Donio camera how elephants spend a long time here at this watering hole, which is a little bit, I mean, it makes sense, they need to drink, but normally elephants will come and they drink and then they leave. But we often see 2, 3, 4 of these bull elephants particularly hanging around this water point for hours. I don't know what that bird is.
I met this remarkable rhino bull, whose name is Samson, last year in a place of extraordinary beauty, history and story. I'm going back there to see him in October, and I think you should come with me to his mysterious mountain fastness.
My full name is Mpomu Tikani. Best part of my job is coming to see nature. Worst part of my job is logging. That's the worst thing ever, because you have to log amount of footage. You sit in front of that computer and yeah, you think of deleting the footage, but no, they need the footage. If I want a camel, probably a soccer player. I know some people don't believe me, but I'm very good, I'm very fast.
Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions,
Animals rely on their senses.
share your thoughts, and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live.
Some of you out there are brilliant at identifying hyenas.
Now, why do you think people have got this huge misunderstanding about reptiles?
Right in front of me there was the face of an astounded buffalo bull.
This is live and interactive, so everybody, if you have any questions and comments, please do send them through and let us know what you would like.
Yes. Lovely to have you here. Melanistic marble. You wonder if it's like a pub where male elephants relax and socialise. It could be. It's things like this I find really interesting because, we'll never really know. I was reading an article yesterday about animals having OCD, and it's technically because we don't know what they're thinking. We don't know what's going on in their head, so it's quite difficult to label animals with that, because while we can guess and we can observe and we can monitor brain waves and heart rates and all the rest of it, that doesn't actually tell us what they're thinking. But I think you might be right, Melanistic Marble. I think this boy might just be waiting for his buddies to turn up and amuse what everyone's been up to for the day. Not a bad spot to hang out. Let's go across to Camelthorne. I think we might have some more elephants there. We've been seeing all sorts of interesting things there over at Camelthorne recently. We've got the crater queue. I'm not sure what you would call this, but that's it's fascinating the way they line up to take turns. Is that elephant at the back flicking sand? He must be. I thought it looked almost liquid-like then, but I'm sure he's been. You can see half of his body is soaked. I'm sure where he's been splashing water, and now he's doing that, kicking some sand. There we go. It's that dust he's using. Oh dear. Who upset everyone then? Oh, the hippos are joining in as well. So let's watch what happens when this other one who's been dusting. I'm not sure if... I've thought this before with these hippos here. They are quite vocal, more than I would expect hippos to be, but I think it might be related to how many of them there are. That's a lot of hippos, and there might be some sort of interactions going on there. That is sort of quite a narrow water body that they're sort of lined up along. But I have noticed these hippos here at Camelthorne are quite regularly quite vocal. This bird sounds like a francolin to me now, after giving it some thought. And francolins, that is technically an alarm call, that high clack, clack, clack of that bird. I think it is a francolin. But they can get a fright from many things if something makes them jump. See all these... Yeah, there's lots of interactions going down in here with these hippos. I think that's probably why we're getting more vocalisations from them. But this francolin alarm calling, this sound is a sound they make quite often. The sound that you really want to listen for is more of a brr, 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 brr sort of sound. That's when a francolin can see a threat, but that threat might be a mongoose, it might be an eagle, it might be a leopard. But this high-pitched alarm call is quite common. Often a very good way of finding predators. It's actually quite funny if there's a group of us having a social somewhere and something alarm calls, or a squirrel alarm calls, or if there's one single impala snort, everyone stops talking, freezes. It almost becomes second nature to tune into those alarm calls. Oh, Catherine, that's not a bad suggestion. The pump of the waterhole at Oldonio, I think, isn't running all the time, so maybe they wait for it to start to get fresh water. That would make complete sense, Catherine, and would explain lots of the loitering that goes on there. Darkmane Lover, hello, thank you very much for joining us and for checking in. Elephants are very therapeutic, I agree. Charlene Van Weingard. Those hippos, they normally get vocal at night, and it's often bulls, from my experience. But I think it's probably just because of numbers. Other hippos might be encroaching on their space, or it might be a warning, or there's just more activity happening in there if there was fewer numbers. I know if a standard sort of setup of, if you've got a dam and there's maybe a bull in there and maybe 5 cows and some youngsters and a couple of young males, it's unusual for me anyway to hear lots of vocalisation anytime outside of dusk. Mr. Elemental, hippo chuckles, yes. And Deb D, there's a lot in a, not exactly a confined space, but there's more hippos in this area that we can see that I have typically seen, put it that way. It changes depending on the time of year, maybe different times of year these hippos disperse if there's more water. But these low rainfall times of year, when water sources shrink, it pushes everyone together and everyone just gets a bit fractious. There is a lot of hippos there. So normal hippo structure is normally one dominant bull, and they will be very territorial. If you've ever, I actually saw a clip a while ago online. Someone was camping somewhere and there was two hippos fighting almost straight through the. Actually, I know someone that. Was it a hippo? Someone had something. A friend of mine had a hippo through their tent not long ago. I think that was that a hippo. Anyway, but yeah, it was a video clip of two bull hippos fighting, sort of while making their way through a campsite. And yeah, you didn't want to be in their way at all. That was a weird noise. I've got no idea what that was. Look at that, they've had their drink and just step to the side to carry on the next part of their beauty care rituals. It is funny, you often see elephants, they've got a favourite patch of dust, or they will have kicked a specific area. It will just have good dirt, good sand, and they will have a drink and then they walk over to another area. But here they've got it right next to the water point they've been using. Not too far to walk. Yes, sorry, but the makeup of a typical hippo family is a bull, cows, and their youngsters. It depends on resources as to how many females that bull will have custody of. But in drought seasons, or as things dry out, groups of hippos will be sort of forced closer and closer together, and it causes lots of arguments. VC, the pachyderm doesn't speak hippo, I think. That's a really, don't set me off on a behaviour understanding tangent. But we know that some animals will listen to other, or not listen to, some species of animal will react to other species of animals' alarm calls. Do they know it's an alarm call? I think they must do. But yeah, we'll never know, VC. Maybe they do. I honestly couldn't tell you. But it's very interesting the way different species interact with each other. I don't want to say are aware of each other, that's not quite right. Whether or not they have an understanding of what's going on between the two species, I'm not sure. And I don't know how we'd ever work it out either. Charlene, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for being a part of the conversation. We love hearing from everyone. It's great learning. It's great understanding and different points of view. I think let's go across to Simbavati. There's some odd sounds going on there. I have absolutely no idea what they are. But let's go across to Simbavati. I've been waiting to see buffalo there again. I know we had a few good sightings of buffalo there. I know that was at Serendella, wasn't it? Let's see what's happening at Simbavati. I don't know what that noise is. It's really distracted me. I'm trying to think and work out what it is. No, I got confused. I thought we were going to Serendella. I've been delighted by how often we've seen buffaloes at Serendella, but you said Simbavati Waterside is where we are, and it's elephants that we have.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
Can you hear that? The wild is calling.
I know they're in the order Artiodactyla, but Whipomorpha, I think is manatees? Whipomorpha. Yeah, Whipomorpha. That's interesting. I didn't know the etymology of the word. The name Whipomorpha is actually a combination of whale and hippo. That's interesting. I didn't know that, but it changes all the time. Taxonomy. Wildlife Lady, thank you so much for joining us. Those elephants were indeed lovely at Camelthorpe, and large groups of hippos there today as well in the water, all being quite vocal. And we do indeed have some more elephants here. at Simbavati Waterside in the Timbavati. I actually know someone that was at that lodge a couple of days ago. We are definitely getting some excellent elephant sightings across all of these cameras recently, as expected in this dry season. Excellent, I think that's a super idea. Let's go across to Stony Point. We haven't been there for a while. I haven't been there for a while anyway. I would love to see what's going on with our penguin chick. I can't remember when that penguin chick had... look at these little disgruntled dussies. They always look so cross. Shame, we saw, sorry Darcy to talk about this, we saw one of our Varro's eagles feeding on a Dussie the other day, and looking at the shape of this Dussie now, it was definitely a Dussie that Varro's eagle had caught, I think. Thank you for the update. Apparently that penguin chick left and departed to elsewhere about a week ago. How lovely though that it managed to grow big enough and strong enough and has now left to carry on with whatever comes next. Debsy, you're asking, at the risk of not sounding very bright, how does a hippo fit into the circle of life? It's hard for you to imagine why they would need to spend most of their time in water. It's not very bright at all, Deb. And it's a really good question. Off the top of my head, one of the most important things without checking or doing some more reading on it, I know hippo play a massive part in keeping waterways open. There's our empty nest. There's a lot of flies around there. I can see the flies from here, so I'm sure they've left it in a bit of a mess. I wouldn't want to be the landlord there after that little chick grew up being fed regurgitated fish stuffs. Might be vacant for a while in there. Deb's, off the top of my head, I'm sure there's lots of functions, but I know that hippos play an important part in keeping waterways open. And I think in the Delta, I've never actually been to the Delta, but I've read information about it before. Waterways can get very clogged with vegetation, and hippos moving through the waterways to and from their feeding grounds, I think they play a very important role in keeping those waterways open. I'm sure there are lots of other things that they are important for, but I would need to go and check. And there might be things going on with hippos that we don't even know about. But yeah, they do spend a lot of their time in the water. I'm just trying to think, historically, evolutionarily, I don't know why they would have evolved in such a way that they have adapted to stay in the water all the time. part of me thought, but maybe it's got something to do with they're more active at night when they're feeding, and a lot of the other grazers sleep at night. I don't know, Deb. So no, it's not a stupid question at all. Dussies always look like deep thinkers to me. Or maybe there's just nothing going on in there at all. They always look a bit cross to me, these little Dussies. So Deb, no, I don't think that sounds stupid at all, and it's great reasoning. And that they are the first things that come into my head. Billy Judd, do leopards kill elephant calves? No. I'm gonna go hard no on that, which is unusual for me. A baby elephant weighs about 150 kilograms. A massive male leopard would weigh 100 kilograms, like massive male leopard. And elephant calves are normally with their mums, and a leopard wouldn't stand a chance, in my opinion. If a tiny baby was really sick and had been separated from mum or something, then maybe. But I've never heard of it. So that was actually quite an easy one. Thank you for an easy one, Billy Judd. Joanne Mello, happy Friday. Happy Friday. Thank you for being with us today. Hugely appreciated. Glistening, sun glistening on the water here at Stony Point today. I bet that water's cold today, actually. The temperature in where I stay the other night was 3.5 degrees, which is insanely cold for this area, but yeah, it gets much colder in down there in Betty's Bay. Animal lover, you are saying you saw rock dussies in Joburg the other day. They were on the road enjoying the sun, and when they ran away they went into one of those underground drainage systems. I've never seen dussies in Joburg. Do they not live near the water, like at the sea? They do not live near the water at the sea. Well, they do, because obviously there's one there. But they are more usually, well, there's different species of dussie. Rock dussies are the dussies I know best. And clues in the name, rocks, cliffs. I know of dussies living, there was actually a lodge around the corner from Tau in Madikwe, and there was a lot of dussies there, and they lived up on the rocks, and they are fairly... Let's go have a teeny tiny little cute baby hippo at Camelthorne is how it was just phrased to me. I'm definitely keen to go and have a look at that. I think you can't quite beat a teeny tiny cute little baby hippo. See, hippos are born much smaller than elephants, and it always... See, I'm doubting myself again. I've checked it so many times. Hippos, when they're born, are something like between 35 to 60 kilograms or something ridiculous. They're tiny. And every time I say that out loud, I doubt myself. So give me one second. I'm going to check myself again, because it always just sounds too small. These hippos are really chatty, hey? I'm gonna check. I don't know what that sound is. It sounds like it's coming from the same place as the hippos.
Even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word. She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh. Woo. This is action-packed.
My name is Takuzwa Panda Msesani. My scariest moment is when it happened twice. The other time I was with Cedric and the other time I was with Steve. And all those times, it was a black mamba. My favorite meal in camp is gonna be burger and chips.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you will not miss out. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7, and you can even rewind if you have missed out on something. Enjoy the behind-the-scenes video clips, as well as fireside chat, or get the early offers on our travel experiences. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
But this is interesting, that one that was very scratched up. Often they're scratched because they've been fighting, and often if they've been fighting it's a suggestion that it's a male. And there appeared to be some interest going on there, but she does not seem interested. That could potentially make sense. We might be getting a little bit of... That's not human, that's fish eagle. Is that fish eagle? That sounds like two fish eagles. So we might be getting a little bit of human sound here, but I would like to stick here if possible, because this is quite an interesting interaction. I'm going to take a wild guess that this hippo standing up is male. And I'm basing that on possibly size, but more than anything is the scratch marks on it. Typically females, they will fight if they need to, or they will chase males away, but those plentiful battle scars is often through territorial disputes with other males. Wildlife lady, yes, I think it might be a human child, quite possibly. You can tell how much time I've spent around it. I was like, I don't recognise that noise. That's not a wildlife noise. But yes, I think on discussions, I think there is sometimes a vehicle that stops a little bit close to this microphone, so that's probably what it was. But I just want to see what's happening here. See, look, that one walking along, no scratch marks. Yeah, I think it is. The sound of children. If you can, maybe try and bear with us, because I want to see what's happening. This is a young cat, and male hippos, they can be very aggressive. It wouldn't surprise me if I've never seen it, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if they were aggressive to youngsters. But she doesn't seem bothered, does she? She's just laying there. That little hippo, I don't know if anyone else saw that. That little hippo was sort of mouthing then. We were talking about it the other day. That is something that certainly horses and zebras will do as a sign of submission. That's a no, buddy. Ah, is he just going to lie down next to her? Okay, yeah. But there was some definite sniffing going on there, some sort of interactions. But yeah, it mystifies me every time, and I always have to check it when baby hippos are born. This actually says as low as 22 kilograms, that's ridiculous, but they are born very, very small and very, very vulnerable. Oh, Jive Bunny, thank you. If there's a hide there as well, it could be coming from the hide. One of the zoomies did suggest that there's sometimes a vehicle stops there, so yeah, I think we can agree that it's definitely human. Thank you very much for that update, Jive Bunny, I appreciate it. Spas, you're asking, any chance to see the fish eagles? I don't know where they are, Spas. I think they're somewhere, and as standard, we almost always hear fish eagles before we see them. I often spot fish eagles. You look for that white often sitting high up in a tree, but you often hear them long before you see them. And it never ceases to amaze me when you do get nice visuals of fish eagles, how brown they are. If anyone's interested, have a look at a good clear image of a fish eagle, and there's a lot more brown on them than I always remember. I was in the Cougar not too long ago at Orpen Dam, which is nowhere near Orpen Gate. No one get confused. I did. And it looked like a not quite adult. One hippo that was covered. It was more scar than skin. And I think it was probably a young male who should have maybe been elsewhere, but for whatever reason had been hanging around longer than he was welcome. They're all finished in the water there. Or is there still lots more in the water across to the left there? There's so many hippos here at Camelthorne, I'm never quite sure how many of them there are. I don't know has anyone ever counted these Camelthorne hippos? Is there a fish eagle up there? Oh, isn't this where we saw... There was a fish eagle walking along the edge of the water. This is where we saw that, I think. I'm sure it was a fish eagle, and it was strutting along the edge of the water there. Really unusual hunting technique, but I'm sure it knows what it's doing. Okay, there was a fish eagle up there. If there was a fish eagle up there, I didn't see it. If we could go back to where that fish eagle was. There it is. I've got it. There we go, Spas. There's your... Oh, there's two of them. I said earlier I heard two fish eagles. Oh, that's beautiful. There's your fish eagles, Spas. Very, very distinctive call, but it sounded a bit odd earlier. And I said, that sounds like there's two of them calling. And there was. Lovely to see both of these fish eagles. So they're obviously, well, they are regularly found in the same area. Are they technically? I think they are territorial. I'm never quite sure, because territorial means territories are defended. I know some birds are fiercely territorial. I know you often find fish eagles in a similar area, but whether or not they defend their territory, let me check. Yes, they are territorial, so that means they will indeed defend an area. So yeah, this is probably where these two fish eagles live. So they are monogamous. They will, just the two of them, they will stay together. They nest on their own, and they normally hang out together at all times, which is lovely. You often find these birds of prey are monogamous, and they often mate for life as well. Robin, you're asking me, do I keep a bird list according to location? Look at that crocodile. I've got a story about that, Robin. I do. But not quite on purpose. I was sort of tricked into keeping a bird list, but well, I'll be completely honest with you. I was tricked into keeping a bird list full stop, because I know if I get into something, then I'm like a dog with a bone. And I didn't keep a bird list for, well, I started a bird list 3 years ago, and I've been living here 12 or 13 years, and I only started about 3 years ago. And I went to a special birding location with someone, and they said, oh, you're going to keep a list? And I said, no, I've never kept a list before. They said, well, you might never see some of these birds again. It's a special forest area. And I sort of said, well, okay, I'll just record here. And that was Lachelamezi, I think, because there is some special birds that you can see up there, so I kept a list. And then I went somewhere else, and they said, are you going to keep a list? I said, well, no. I said, well, what about, this is another different area. So I did another list for, I think it was Nachuba's Kloof. And then I discovered on my bird app what someone else showed me. If you touch a slider, it combines those two lists into a life list. So then I had a life list, and I was like, damn, that wasn't supposed to happen. So now I do keep a list by location. I've got a Madikwe list, I've got a Kruger Park list. My Kruger Park list rules are if you go in through a Kruger gate, then you're in the Kruger Park. But yeah, it can get very confusing if you have all the different lists for all the different areas, because at what point does the Kruger Park become the Timbavati? What happens if you go from a lodge in the Kruger Park and you cross a boundary and go into the Timbavati? It gets very confusing. So that was a really long answer. Generally, yes, but not as strictly as a lot of people. I do have a list for the estate I stay in, and that obviously the rule is inside the fence line. But yeah, I didn't keep a bird list for many, many years, and then I got tricked into doing it. Oh, Robin McLean, you said you saw a fish eagle at Pilansberg last month. They're big eagles. It's often difficult to get a scale on just how big some of these raptors are, like those Varro's eagles. They're huge birds, but because they're flying, they're far away, so you don't normally get an opportunity to really appreciate just how big some of them are. It's amazing that they've been created with the gift of flight being that size. See them in the Kruger as well, but I used to see them quite regularly in Madikwe. Watching a Kori bustard take off, it's like watching a small Cessna get off the floor.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. I really want to film an artwork, and it has been my goal. I'll be just keeping my eyes open. The worst driver is James. He's driving, yeah. You gotta be holding on back in there, yeah? Like in bumps, and I mean, it happens when, these things happens when you're actually going for animals usually. But then, yeah, he's driving, yeah, you gotta put your seatbelt.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a salesman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
Because we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
We are here with a male leopard.
Uncomfortable. Let's see if he goes into that same Same space the first one was in. That was a full-on conversation those elephants just had. Oh, I love it. I love watching it. I was watching two dogs yesterday, and one had a toy and the other one wanted it. And it was fascinating. And I filmed it. It was like a 15-second clip. All very, very peaceful, very, very quiet, quite still. And the one dog said, "Can I have that?" And the other dog went, "It's mine." And sort of turned her head a little bit more, just slightly. And the other dog went, "Nope, it's mine." And the first dog asked again, and the second dog just picked up the toy and walked away. It was fascinating. I love it. I love observing. Bianca, you're asking what happens when the matriarch of an elephant herd dies. The role is often filled by a relation, another female relation, sister, aunt. Normally not always, but my understanding is often of a similar age bracket. Or maybe, I suppose, if she's got old and died, maybe the next age bracket down. But being a matriarch is often, as far as I'm aware, related to experience and wisdom, for want of a better word. So as far as I understand it, someone else from the herd will step into that role. I've never actually read a proper paper on it though. That's a great idea, Bianca. That's what my gut instinct and learning tells me, but I've never seen it sort of discussed in a peer-reviewed paper, so that's going to be my homework tonight. I'm going to do some reading around that, because I would love to see who has actually studied it and worked out some more of the intricacies of it. That is on my homework list, some bedtime reading. Oh, Bianca, I'm just thinking outside the box. I'm assuming you meant like who is the next matriarch as opposed to what actual things happen. VC, you're saying afternoon siesta for the baby hippo. Absolutely. That is mum that's just got up though. I would assume baby will follow. And I think this one that's laying down is, I'm going to guess, but I would say a bull. And this other one that's behind, it almost looks like some, we were saying earlier about zebra foals do it, horse foals do it, a sort of mouthing action. A submissive action. Oh no, mum was just relocating. It almost looked like that hippo was mouthing then. Look at this little guy snoozing. Oh, you can't quite beat a baby hippo. cute. I didn't quite catch where we are going, but we're going to go across to elsewhere and leave this, I want to say hippo family, but that's a bit of a generalisation. This group of hippos having a little snooze here at Camelthorne. We really do see some fascinating activity on this Camelthorne camera. Some quite unusual behaviours we've seen here. Aha, we are at Moella here in Botswana. Well, let's see if we can see after our discussion about mouthing. Let's find a foal. Let's see if we can't watch a foal doing that. That would be a nice little... So there's lots of vocalisations with animals at the moment, but I think it's based on numbers. The more animals, the more likely you are to hear vocalisations, I guess. I mean, that people would often say that's an alarm call. I've heard zebra make that sound, and there not be a lion there. Right, let's look for a foal in this lot. It doesn't always necessarily have to be a baby something that's showing submissive behaviours. Sign of respect, not necessarily submission. See, now this is nice watching evidence. You know, people would automatically say that, you know, that's a zebra alarm calling. My gut is telling me there's no lion here. Not necessarily a predator here, because I think all these zebra would be absolutely petrified. So that tells me that this sound that this zebra is making is not necessarily an alarm call. It could just be communication. Let's see what my behaviour Bible, how they describe. There's some lovely wording of how they describe things in this book. Okay, that's interesting. The greeting of equals features open-mouthed chewing movements, but with ears cocked, unlike submissive display. So a submissive display, or a sign of respect, I think would be with ears back. But if you're greeting an equal, it's ears forward. That's interesting. I've never thought of it that way before. There's not actually much on it. It's just communication, these sounds. I was hoping to get a really nice clear description on the difference between a or the difference that this book perceived to be the sound of a alarm call or the just communication.
Now this leopard that we're looking at is known by the name of Hlalamba.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Most people that know me really well call me Max. I'm a mum. I have two boys. One is 16 years old and one is 14 years old. I'm a very, very proud mama of my two boys. I've just always been passionate about leopards. I'm passionate about their conservation. I'm just passionate about everything to do with leopards. I love them.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. You'll gain access to the channel ad-free. You can rewind and rewatch sightings and gain access to our live Tuesday safaris. There's also behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and every safari live episode, whenever it suits you. It's just the best way to connect with nature.
I mean, there normally is, because nature's clever and it sets it up that way. Another female leader will take over the role, and if they don't, the herd is often in trouble, because that knowledge is gone. That knowledge base is gone. The best places to dig for water, the best places to find food, what areas are safe, etc., etc. And herds can dissipate if they haven't got strong leadership of a wise old lady. And I was also thinking, it was Bianca. Elephants do mourn. If you were talking more about the practical side of what actually happens when a matriarch dies, elephants do mourn. I've seen it. If you read books and online, it will agree, but I've seen a group of elephants mourn. And they'll be standing. I've read lots of reports of, I've never seen it, I've read lots of reports of elephants did things with branches. I don't know how true they are, but I have watched a herd of elephants mourn. It was probably about 3 or 4-year-old youngster died, don't know what it died of. And I've told the story several times before. I was in a sighting. There were 2 lions feeding on the carcass, and a herd of elephants came from the other side of the Sabi River. We saw them over the other side of the river. They walked through the river towards where this young elephant carcass was. They chased the lions off, and they stood around this carcass completely still for maybe 6 or 7 minutes. They turned around, walked back across the river and left. And if that's not mourning, I don't know what is. K9 girl, amazing to see so many loving the sounds. There's lots of sounds going on today's show. There's lots of hippos, and we had some humans getting into the mix. Lots of zebra sounds. Oh, Bundu, thank you. I was asking whether or not there'd been many predators seen here, because if I was a lion, I'd be here, right? And it was very kindly fed back to me that it's mostly hyenas and jackals, but only when there was, I think it was a dead wildebeest. But also a hot spot for bat-eared foxes. Bat-eared foxes are cool. I haven't actually seen that many bat-eared foxes, because I have normally or frequently operated around the Lowveld. When do they start? I think it's further north. I'm going to check the distribution of bat-eared foxes. They're not even in my book. I'm not sure of the exact distribution of bat-eared foxes. I think they probably occur further north, but they're more desert living, I think, or arid area living. Alrighty, good to see these. Well, these zebra are definitely still here in abundance. Let's go. Let's go back across to Camelthorne and see if our hippos are still as chatty as our zebras are. Oh, look at these guys. Those hippos. The hippos must be like, excuse me. Is it like two slightly younger elephants here, having a right old game here in the water? So this doesn't look too serious to me, but I have no doubt there is some practice in their jest. To asking yesterday, how old are these elephants? These elephants older than 12 because they're not with their family, younger than 25 because they just don't look bulky enough to be fully grown adults. Maybe like 18, 20? I've got no idea. 20? 18? 20, 18, 15? I don't know. Oh, there's another similarly aged one, maybe a little bit smaller, this one coming in. That one that's covered in just sort of reached up. See, I don't know how old these elephants are, but this to me looks like an interaction between, I don't know, like two 12 to 14-year-old boys. So pushing and shoving, really want to hurt each other. As long as everyone stays chill, it will just be a bit of a practice shove, I think. Debbie, you are asking, do elephant fights get rough? Yes. There we go, there's a nice solid answer for you. I've given 2 straight answers today, that's unusual. Yes, Debbie, they do. Not all the time, and not if they can help it. But like we saw here sort of 15-20 minutes ago, that interaction between those 2 adult bulls, one was stood at the top of the hill, one was halfway up the hill, one was busy, the other one was waiting. The one that was waiting took a step forward, the one that was busy went, no, give me a minute. But just with the turn of the body, side eye, they were still 10 metres apart from one another, well more, 20 metres apart from one another probably. That's how animals in general, well-rounded, normal animals prefer to interact with each other. Distant stuff, no thank you. Because if it doesn't go that way, if 2 5-ton elephants really needed to fight, someone's going to get hurt. Almost every time. But that was very interesting earlier. The one at the top finished all what he was doing, started walking off while the other one was waiting. I thought it looked like displacement behaviour. There wasn't much to eat in that bush, and if he'd wanted to be eating something, he would have been eating something beforehand. And the one went, just give me a minute, and the other one turned to the side and said, oh okay, I'll just eat this pretend thing over here. And then the top one gave way, and the second one carried on the route up to the top of the hill. I love watching it. That's your double fish eagle spuss. If you think these 2 elephants are fighting properly, go online and have a look at adult bull elephants fighting. You know about it if 2 adult bulls are properly fighting. These 2 boys, they might be testing each other's strength a little bit. But look, they stop. They touch, they reassess. They wait, they pause, they reassess. No, I don't want to play. And the other one very politely says, okay. And they go their separate ways. They might come back together again and re-engage, but the one that's wet said, yeah, I don't like it anymore. Maybe this one that's dry is not finished with his tomfoolery, So let's see if he's going to see if he can engage this other one now to get involved. Or is he just going to wait there patiently for a drink? Pat, you're asking, what do the animals do when the waterholes dry out? They move or die, is the short answer. This waterhole we're looking at now here at Camelthorne, Pat, is pumped. Those two elephants at the front here, they're at where the inlet is. And I think there's I'm not too sure on the dynamics of this exact location. I've been trying to find more information about it. But this section here is pumped, and I think there might be a section of river that's diverted here or something. I'm not entirely sure. So short version, this won't dry out. But if water runs out, if water dries out, animals move or they die. Karen, you're asking, do females fight at all? Elephants? No, not really. They might have discussions, but they're not territorial. They work as a team, raising young. So I think and female animals that are territorial will fight over territory. I think one of the things that non-territorial females would fight over is probably youngsters, but female elephants help each other with care of young. So not really. Not that I've never seen two female elephants have a proper fight. An occasional shove here or there if someone's in someone's space. But even that isn't normally necessary. If someone's in someone's space, then one will go, oh, sorry. And the other one goes, no problem. Thanks very much for moving. And that's pretty much the end of it. Oh, the things we could learn from animals. Lovely interactions here with these adolescent, young adult elephants. Let's leave these guys here drinking and head back across to Aldonio. Let's see if we've got one of the big boys still loitering there at the Aldonio waterhole. I don't remember ever seeing this elephant before. I'm sure regulars will know him, very distinctive with his huge rip in his ear. But even more characteristic is that... No, is that... I thought there was a second elephant behind. No, that is his tusk. Huh. Now let's see how these two interact. My gut would say that having a misshapen tusk would be a disadvantage. But imagine how good that must be for digging things up. It's like a plough. Mind you, I suppose the other ones could just put their tusks in and push forwards, but he could like bring things towards him. But let's see if we can work out how these two feel about this guy's misshapen tusk. If indeed they feel anything. That one on the left has got, his tusks are perfectly even. And he looks front on. both dead straight and dead even.
Join me for a magical safari to India, a wildly exotic land of tigers, temples and Kipling. To start, we'll head to Pench and then to Doba to look for the famed Bengal tiger, as well as deer in the dappled forests, sloth bears and countless birds. We'll stay in stunning eco-lodges that blend luxury with a light footprint. Our Indian adventure culminates in Agra with a sunrise visit to the Taj Mahal.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Best part of the job, gosh, I just love everything about guiding. I love being able to observe animal behavior and animals behaving naturally. So for me, that's by far the best part of the job. And so what we do here at Wild Earth is develop those connections with the people that are viewing and maybe just light a little spark that says, you know what, I want to be involved in protecting this ecosystem.
This is what they call a shambe, a family, a whole herd of elephants.
But nature is beyond amazing. Nature is just everything.
We'd love to hear from you. Questions, comments about biology, Africa, safari.
She's using her tail like a monkey.
Tusks are sort of basically elongated teeth, and cow horns are not. I think it's just the way it's grown, Adam, to be honest. If anyone's got any other theories on why this might have grown like this, please do feel free to send them through. I'm racking my brain to see if I can think of anything else. Robin McLean, you're asking, are there any female groups at Aldona? You've only seen bulls. I'm just trying to think if I've seen any females. I don't think I have either. I'm sure they're around. But I noticed the same thing often at Tembe, and there are females in Tembe Elephant Park, but It will depend on how many water sources there are. If there's lots of other places for them to drink, then the females could be drinking there. We often see males here, big males, and I noticed the same thing at Tenby, and I think the females often have youngsters, and these boys can be bothersome. So as far as I'm aware, Robin, there are females that have access to this area. I could be wrong, anyone is welcome to correct me, but as far as I know, it's not a boys only area. We just don't tend to see them. I think the fact that we know one ton visits here, but sporadically, suggests to me that maybe elephants pass through this area. They don't, there's not a family group that sort of lives in the same place all the time. So maybe it could be that females don't spend too much time here if they are passing through. But as far as I'm aware, it's not a boys only zone. That big rip in that ear actually looks quite funny.
This is an unbelievable afternoon. Would you like to know what an elephant's favourite food is? You could ask me questions like that in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive from the heart of Africa. Over here. Watch Safari Live and connect with nature.
Out here, every moment counts. As a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
months where there's lots of food, lots of water. They should be looking healthy and fit and strong. And you see an animal with those very sunken temples, I would say that's definitely an older animal. See that elephant on the left is resting his leg, his back leg. Trying to read body language is, you have to check the situation as well, and you will often hear us say if an elephant is resting a leg or swaying a leg maybe, so there's one leg off the floor, it's thinking or it's not quite sure what to do next. That's often in a situation where there's stuff happening or stuff might be about to happen. This elephant is also almost resting his trunk. Oh, stop now. And resting that back leg. That looks like a comfort thing to me. This is a very low arousal, low energy situation to me. And I think he was just chilling. He was just resting that back leg in a relaxed posture. That tusk that's pointing inwards, it almost looks like it's split in half. You see that sort of, it's sort of white on the outside with a line of dark down the middle. I wonder if that has been an accident. Maybe it was, and the tusk is split. It's difficult to tell from here. But you see how that's sort of dark, it's white and then dark, almost like that would be part of the tusk where something was inside it. I don't think the soft tissue goes that far down. So that is now making me second guess my, that's a brilliant zoom in. Look at that. That's now making me second guess my, that wouldn't happen in an accident statement. I didn't think that the soft tissue in a tusk went down that low. I thought it would stop sort of higher up, but that almost looks like it's been split, hey? So which way that would have had to rotate inwards? If it was bumped, it would have rotated in. Because if we can, I don't know how we're going to do it, if we could get a view on, I suppose it's going to be depend where the elephant stands. We need to either get him to turn his head. Oh, go on, turn your head. That would be very cool. And see the inside of the other tusk on the other side. Because it looks like that the gap in the middle has been filled up with mud or dirt. I might retract my statement. Maybe this was an accident and it did bend round. I suppose human teeth, in an accident you can half knock a tooth out. Oh, hello, giraffe. I don't know. Maybe it's not impossible that this was an accident, and maybe that tusk split in the accident and that's why there's a big dark line down the middle of it. I don't know. Jive Bunny, I'm glad you're loving all the discussions. You pretty much just get, what's the fun in me just telling you stuff though? That's boring. This is interactive. active, it's live, it's interactive, it's supposed to be everyone learning and chatting and listening together. Sandra, thanks for being with us, loved all the sightings. Thank you, Sandra, for being with us. It's hugely appreciated. But yeah, where's the fun in just sitting, me telling people stuff? That's no fun. And as I always say, the day someone thinks they know everything, that's when they should maybe reconsider. But yeah, my gut on this damaged tusk is still possibly a birth defect, or a growth defect rather. But that thing running down the middle, maybe it was an accident, maybe it did split, and maybe it did turn around, but maybe we'll never know. It's just about time for the end of the show. We've got 1 minute to go. Elephants. This is Floppy Ear that one time. This Floppy Ear's trouble, hey? But thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon. I've loved hearing from everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please do keep your eyes on these cameras. I will indeed be back sometime. We can further ponder. Keep watching this. This floppy-eared elephant's going to cause problems here. You watch. Keep your eyes on the cameras. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. Today we're going on an adventure through some of South Africa's most spectacular nature havens. Our locations are diverse and unique and are at the forefront of ecotourism and conservation. Amidst fantastic scenery and incredible wildlife, we'll be finding out all the interesting facts about the flora and fauna whilst bathing in the sheer beauty of Africa.